Hi everybody, this is Leigh from the market, of course. I wanted to take a few minutes today to chat with you a little bit, and it occurred to me with all this high and fancy technology we have now that this would be a really good mechanism to do this, especially since we've tried since November to get all of our decision makers together, and we're all just so busy with all the different things that we're doing that it's just proven to be really difficult to get all of us in the same room to talk. And I think it's really important for us as a group to share our observations, to review our strategy, to look at what's working, what's not working so well, what we could improve upon, what we need to let go. And I'm going to learn eventually, I'm going to get better at this, and I'm going to learn to not say quite so much. There I go again. So in a local foods marketplace, there are two forces really that inform what we do. One is retail sales and the psychology all around that, and then local food production and the seasonality around all of that. So one of the things that we know as vendors when we come to a marketplace is that abundance sells. If you go anywhere, actually, that retail products are offered to the public, you will notice that this seems to be the case. And it doesn't matter whether it's very well appointed Mercedes-Benz or crates of oranges come out of Florida. In every venue where sales is the goal, abundance is the priority, and merchandising is king. So now is the time, since we're getting ready to launch our new 2019 season, now is the time to think about creative ways to add dimension to your table, to add color to your table, have varying sizes of containers for your things so that when you start to run low in something and it's sitting in a big bowl, you have a smaller bowl to put those things in so that it looks like more. And in fact, when you visit marketplaces, you will hear the mantra that many of them, joke and chide and share with each other is pile it high and watch it fly. So if you have an occasion where your harvest is small, and you only have 20 tomatoes, it's better to go ahead and sell your 20 tomatoes to the guy that has 4 or 5 bushels rather than lay them out on the table. Why? Because it's abundance that sells. And the vendor that has the most or appears to have the most is going to sell the most. So I thought it would be really helpful for you all to hear that my goal for our market is 45 solid vendors, profitable vendors who are all making good, solid money. 20% of that 45 is a good round, sort of standard percentage of artisan and crafts people to include in your marketplace, and 2,000 people through the market every Saturday. So that's my goal. That's the target that I shoot for when I'm thinking about the promotional materials that I've been developing this winter, the festivals that I'm going to promote the market. I'm trying to get our marketplace in front of our target audience. My goal, because that's my goal. My goal is to have a roster of 45 solidly profitable vendors on the basis of 2,000 people through the marketplace every Saturday. So let's see, what else do we need to talk about? So we need to talk about best practices. There are best practices both in retail sales, which revolves around what we talked about just a minute ago, which is merchandising, and there are also best practices in local food production, and that's seasonality. So before I move on to local foods, I want to share with you something called the store set. So I know that when you go to Food Lion or Aldi's or wherever it is you do your groceries, you will notice every time you walk in that the front of the store is merchandised differently. And sometimes, in fact, on Saturday, they will change their store set in the middle of the Saturday. Once the merchandise at the very front of the store is not piled high and doesn't look abundant, they change. Those things are all on wheels, and they'll roll that stuff to the back and bring out something different. And we need to be cognizant of that, both as vendors, and then of course my job is to merchandise the marketplace, right? To make it look abundant. That's my goal. Why is that? Because abundance is what sells. Scarcity doesn't sell. In fact, my sister has worked in retail her whole professional life for a number of different women's clothing vendors, or retailers actually, and she tells me that sometimes they will change their entire store twice a day, particularly at Christmas when sizes the size selection gets limited, when the color selection gets limited. When the merchandising starts to look thin, they change the store set. So just keep that in mind. As individual vendors, of course, your job is to merchandise your table. My job as the market director is to merchandise the market. So that's my goal, is to make us, that's always my goal, is to make us look abundant and delicious. So the second force that I wanted to talk with you about is seasonality. And in our region, and I'm talking Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, upstate Georgia, most of the local food markets are very seasonal, at least as they start to get going. And that in this area typically means late May, early June, mid-June, through September. And why do they do that? Well, because that's the season when the market can look the most abundant, right? They have the most number of people with the greatest amount of product coming off of the land and ready to be taken to the target audience and sold. Now there are markets like the market up in Durham, that runs all year long, and they have for a number of years, and that's because they have extended their capacity now, and the local ordinances around local foods in their county are a little bit different. So they have cheese, they have milk, they have butter, they have all kinds of prepared food products that are able and permitted to come to their marketplace. So their capacity is such that they have the abundance that will attract a crowd every Saturday, regardless of the season of the year. Of course, all of the seasonal fruits and vegetables come in, and it's the marketplace is much more expanded during those peak months of June to September. So until we get there, I think it's really important that we do a really, really good job of marketing ourselves to our target audience during the peak season. And then after the close of the season, at least until we have more and more vendors who use season extending techniques both on the fall side and the spring side to have an abundant crops come to the market, we need to adhere to a more seasonal schedule. And we also need, of course, then, because as I mentioned earlier to some of you, the market may end. You know, our ability to have a vibrant marketplace may end, but our bills do not. So we need to have multiple streams of revenue. And I've talked with all of our vendors about how to do that, and about the techniques and the tools that you need to have on board in order to be successful to do that. So I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you. I think I've shared what I really wanted you to know, really, which is again, my goal for our marketplace is 45 solidly profitable vendors and 2,000 people through the marketplace every Saturday. So I'm looking forward to rolling out in the next couple of weeks. We'll be rolling out a brand new newsletter that'll go out on Thursday. We have our Mother's Day Festival coming up Saturday, May 11th. We have a full roster of activities coming that day, and then starting the 1st of June, we will have all of our Saturdays programmed with music and kids activities and informational talks from some of our local chefs, and some of our local educators will be with us. Some of our local fitness folks will be with us to share fitness activities for kids. So I'm really looking forward to a great 2019, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.